Hey everybody, what's going on? Lee and Tammy Sanders back with you guys. You all are checking out an all new edition of Wrestling with the Topics for this weekend of September 13th, 2025. I'm Lee as always, and she is the beautiful and the lovely Tammy.
Hello.
Hope you guys been having a fantastic weekend so far. Good God Almighty! A lot to get into on this loaded edition. Promise we ain't gonna be long-winded because we do recognize that at the time that we're recording this right now, it is Saturday night and the mood is right. We ain't talking about no TGIF, although I do miss those days. I gotta admit. But yeah, I think there's a lot of interesting things that's going on this weekend. I know if you are a MMA fan, boxing fan, there's definitely some events that's going on this weekend. I know WWE did the Worlds Collide event yesterday. I did watch 90% of that event. I'm not going to be talking about it here on this show. So if you guys are looking for me to talk about it here on this show, yeah, nah, sorry, you're gonna be disappointed. You want to tune in to Monday because that just wouldn't be fair to Tams because she hasn't even, yeah, you haven't even watched any of the WWE Triple Mania shows yet, right? I think maybe I might have loosely told you about some of them, but you haven't
Yeah, I
actually.
haven't really seen a lot of it.
You haven't
No.
even, yeah, to my knowledge, you haven't even walked in and watched and seen me watch any of those things.
Not to my knowledge.
Yeah. So that wouldn't be fair to Tams. But besides that, we definitely got a loaded up show for you guys. We're definitely going to be going a little bit all over the place. Going to be some pretty heavy shit that we're going to be getting into on this edition. And now, I do want to toss you guys a little bit of a bone when it comes to wrestling related stuff. We will be talking about Hate to Told You So. I mean, we're seeing all this selective outrage that's going on with WWE announcing this blockbuster deal with Saudi Arabia for WrestleMania. Hate to tell you so. Ooh, say it isn't so. It isn't so. Oh, say it isn't so. Oh, no. But we told you guys like some years back. And we're not just saying that just to be sucking our own, but legit. We told you here on this specific series that we could see a foreseeable future where Saudi Arabia was going to get a WrestleMania joint. And then Tams even doubled down on it like a couple of weeks ago. I think, if anything, matter of fact, we even said, yo, the idea of WWE doing a Saudi WrestleMania show for Saudi Arabia and then coming back to North America to do an American WrestleMania. What do you think? And I think to that idea, you were like, I'm not really sure about that one.
Yeah, I wasn't sure, to be clear,
Right.
in reference to if there was a, if they were going to essentially do two. I pretty much was definitely like, no, it's definitely not going to be two. But in reference to specifics of whether or not they would have a WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia, I did not touch on.
You did not touch on it. Okay. And I'm so glad you guys cannot see me right now because I just realized that I am in front of my webcam, and I just realized my webcam is on and I'm able to see myself, and it's like, oh, you guys can't see me, which is good because I have a really funny shirt on that I should not be wearing right now. That's all I'm gonna say to you guys. That's all I'm gonna say to you guys. But let's get into this because I'm salivating at the bit and everything. So let's go at it hard. By now, unless you've been living under a rock, this whole shit that's been going on with Charlie Kirk. I have been paying very close attention to this, and I got to tell you, when I was in my classes, particularly for this week, and I'm at a prestigious university, I was expecting for my professors to talk about this in some form, particularly in my journalism classes, because one of my journalism classes has to do with roles, etiquettes, ethics, structures, all of that, right? Really understanding the role that journalists play, or that at least they're supposed to play in this respected industry and all that. And none of them would touch this subject. None of them would touch this subject. I remember telling Tams about this, and loosely, I kind of came to the conclusion of, well, maybe they're just waiting for more information to come out, and maybe this is a area they just want to tread lightly on because they're not trying to say something that could essentially be weaponized
Mm.
and used against them. And then the next thing you know, they are screwed out of a job because we have seen so many instances now where there are people that have been losing their jobs for taking to social media and saying something along the lines of, hey, glad that this individual is dead, or hey, they got what was coming to them, or, and we are talking teachers that have lost their jobs
Mm.
this week. It has even impacted the NFL. I don't know which team it is, so I don't want to
Wow.
misquote with the team, but there was a communications manager from the NFL tied into public relations. He lost his job because he publicly had said some stuff on Instagram about this whole Charlie Kirk situation and all of that. But this is very multi layered because it goes beyond Charlie Kirk and this guy's whole assassination. It goes beyond that. So, first things first, let's really get you guys caught up to speed, and let's tackle all this Charlie Kirk, and we'll eventually come back to the whole media stuff. I promise you guys, right? Because media definitely played a huge role in this. And if you're like me, or somebody that's aspiring to be involved in the journalism industry and all that, you just can't help but look at this and go, man, these are some weird times uh, that we're in right now, because you look at all of this craziness that's going on, and it kind of follows up on what some of my professors have been telling me, which is, it's definitely a polarizing time right now for the industry of journalism. It really is. And at the same time, one of my professors was very honest in regards to the profession. He said, "Look, the pay isn't quite what it used to be. It's like it's good, but the pay isn't quite what it used to be. And furthermore, you are away from your family a lot. So as far as birthdays, weddings, trying to be there for somebody's funeral, or there's a lot of that you're gonna be missing out on. So you really have to decide if this is something that you really want to get into, and then all the risk that comes with it and everything. And did it intimidate me in any type of way? Did I learn something that I did not learn about before when my professor was saying all of this stuff? No, not by any stretch. So if you were to ask me, okay, so do you still wanna? Yeah, no, I'm still very interested in pursuing this when it's all said and done. So timeline, key facts, right? Nothing but the facts that we're going to do here, all right? So, Charlie Kirk was the founder of Turning Point USA, of which he was the co founder and leader in conservative youth activism. And what this man was doing was he was going on various campuses all across North America, and he was a nice little setup. He basically would have a little tent area, middle of a lawn or whatever, and he would welcome the youth to come on by, and he would have conversations with them, right? Political conversations with them. He would even get into debates. He would welcome debates. And he was pretty civil when it would come to the debates. And when it was all said and done, what he was trying to accomplish was getting the youth to, hey, look, we need you. You're very important. You help shape the future of this country. We need you to get out there. We need you to go and vote. And he was able to tap into this as he played a very vital role in helping President Trump win this past election. This man, very, very close to the Trump family, particularly Donald Trump Jr., um, and right down to the point, Jr., when he released comments, Tams, about Kirk's death, he pretty much let it be known. He looked at him as a little brother. So this was definitely, it wasn't one of those cases where, oh, they're just playing footsie, they're just saying this just to be nice, they're just saying this to, no, 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 this was pretty impactful, right? Charlie Kirk, very big in conservative youth activism, big presence, campus organizing, hosted a show in more recent years, and not for nothing, was doing pretty damn good on the downloads, averaging anywhere between 500,000 to 750,000 downloads. At least that's the most recent data as of last year. There's no telling what he was doing so far in 2025. Utah Valley University. He was speaking at a event under his American Comeback Tour, answering a question from a student. Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years? And what would be his final response before being shot was, counting or not counting gang violence. I saw the video in question. And the way I came across it, I'm not sure how many of you came across it. I'm not sure. And I pray to God that for those of you that are parents, I know a lot of you are parents out there. I always hear back from you guys how a lot of you all, not only did you grow up listening to me, but now you have kids of your own. And that always puts a smile on my face. But I'm really praying and hoping that your kids were not on social media and they came across this, because Tams, apparently Meta, which owns Facebook, Instagram, right, for those of you that don't know, TikTok, Twitter, they all came under great scrutiny,
I bet,
because of how easy it was to come across this video. So even with the age restrictions, even with whatever you can think about, this video of this man's assassination, even if you were not looking for it, you are going to come across it within your respective timelines, because that's how easy it was to come across this sensitive footage. And I got to tell you, in all my years of walking God's green earth, I've seen a lot of fucked up stuff. Okay. I have seen the hanging of Saddam Hussein. I've seen the stuff with Pablo Escobar when he got taken out. I remember there was some something went down in the 70s. I can't think who it was exactly, but and no, it wasn't Robert Kennedy or Bobby Kennedy, but there was something that had went down in the 70s where I don't know if it was a killer or somebody, but this guy just walked up, shot the person just right there. It was here in America, right? I always tell you guys, I'm always watching the ID channel. I'm always watching Deadly Women. I'm always watching. This hit on another level for me. It really, really messed my psyche up big time when I watched this. And maybe because it was a case where the vulnerability. I think if I were to really, because now I've had a couple of days to really process and everything, because I went numb for a couple of days after I saw that footage. I could not get the visuals out of my head. And I think when it's all said and done, just the fact that here was an individual, regardless of your political affiliation, here was an individual that was just on a campus. And it's not like he was by himself. He had his own security detailed, which were in plain clothes. They've been with him for years doing this type of stuff, and they were working in conjunction with the local campus security that was there and all of that. But if you learn anything about me, if you know anything about me over the years of listening to this show, I do have a security background, and I'm always looking at, okay, what's going on with this setup? If something weird were to happen, not just where the exits are, but like where's cameras, where specifically, if you're going to do something like this outdoors, where do you want to have the most protection? Where are you most vulnerable? I'm always thinking about stuff like that. This guy was too fucking out in the open.
Yeah.
He was too fucking out in the open. Once I saw the blueprint, before it was even, I'm like, yo, he was too out in the open. That was my first initial, like, when I saw how everything went down. But to see that single shot into the neck, I've never seen anything like it before. I probably won't see anything like it after. I pray that I don't. Transported to the hospital, pronounced dead shortly after. Now, after the shooting, public reactions was immediate, both from Republicans and Democrats, condemning the violence. Media and public figures began making claims, some before motive was even known. I made my rounds all throughout the news networks, because that's the one thing that I was told actually by my professors, especially my government professor. She told me and the rest of the class, uh, if you've never watched news before, and I'm going to myself, "Well, not an issue for me." She goes, start watching news now more than ever, because depending on the topic, we're going to be bringing it up here and linking it back to our coursework. And I'm going, yes, right. But media and public figures, they've been making claims, some before, as I mentioned, motive was even known. A lot of misinformation that started spreading online, false affiliations of the shooter, identity mix-ups. I remember hearing at one point some woman that's running for senator or congressman, she said, "Oh, it was a tranny killer." Her words, not mine.
Oh wow.
It was a tranny killer, and yeah, he even put bullets, little tranny statements on the bullets that were. And when one of the reporters said to her, "Oh, are you getting information that this was like, dude was dead. Dude didn't even dude didn't even hit the autopsy table yet.
Right.
Day that he died." She's saying this type of rhetoric. And shout out to the reporters that were challenging her. She's like, "Oh no, I'm just, unless you guys know something, I'm just, the limited information that I was given. I trust that you guys will report this accurately. You guys need to report this accurately. You need to do your due diligence and report this accurately." And I'm just saying to myself, lady, if there was ever a time for you to say no comment, this is the time. This is the place.
That's true.
Media missteps. You look at
all over the place.
All over the place. The biggest one to me was MSNBC's analyst Matthew Dowd, who I've watched off and on over the years. Some points I'm nodding my head going, that's kind of a good point. And then a lot of times I'm going, dude, that's kind of whacked. Matthew Dowd saying on there that Kirk's own radical rhetoric or words may have contributed to the environment that led to his assassination. The exact quote: hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which then lead to hateful actions. You can't stop with these sort of awful thoughts and then expect that no awful actions follow. I particularly teach its teach their own, each its own, their own, as I like to say. I use both of them. Look, person's dead. Read the room. You got to be sensitive. You just got to be sensitive. Okay? Plain and simple. You got to be sensitive. It's not the time nor the place to really push your personal preference out there. Okay?
Personal feelings.
Personal feelings. Yes, correct. Personal feelings. Even if you were to jump out there and say, hey, this is my personal opinion, still, the many that are consuming what you're saying, this is a transactional relationship, all right? Like the viewers are watching this network, they're trying to be informed, they're trying to be enlightened, they're trying to make sense of what's being presented in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
If you're listening to the radio or you're reading a newspaper, it's pretty much the same deal, okay? And so as a journalist, you got to learn how to definitely read the room. You really have to do a superb job in showing great restraint.
Yes.
Okay? Even if you are in a role where you are being brought in as a contributor. Okay? Basically, you're just coming in to talk for about 5-10 minutes. Okay, your check's in the mail. See you tomorrow, same time. Like, you don't want to rock the boat and mess that money up. Okay, I don't know about you all. I'm not saying that to say I'm going to be scared, but at the same time, I'm definitely going to realize where my bread is buttered, and I'm not going to get so not lackadaisical, but I'm not going to get so comfortable to the point where I'm essentially pulling a Malcolm X going, well, the chickens sure did come home to roost, didn't they? Right?
Right.
Like, not the time, not the place. False claims that Democrats blocked a moment of prayer for Kirk in the House of Representatives circulated circulated based on selectively edited video clips. That's according to the Associated Press. Yes, yes. Some outlets and social media users falsely identify suspects or claim they belong to certain political groups. Those were later debunked. Charlie's widow, Erica Kirk, released her first public remarks, vowing to continue his work. She pledged to keep Turning Point USA's efforts going. That includes the campus tours, podcasts, events. She also expressed gratitude to law enforcement, emergency responders, and political figures who reached out. Um, Many commentators, from what I personally watched, many commentators who had previously used harsh or divisive rhetoric, all of a sudden they're calling for unity, prayer, compassion after the assassination. That shift or appearance of it, I mean, that's something, if that's not hypocrisy at its finest, I,
Yeah.
I'm not really sure what is. And I did pull up some screenshots. You guys won't see these screenshots. I didn't really have enough time to prepare beforehand. I apologize. But you can easily find this for yourself. Elon Musk, I'm looking at you, bud. Elon Musk said this before it was revealed who the shooter was, which we will talk more about in a little bit. Elon Musk saying on his own platform, Twitter, The left is the party of murder. Okay? Meanwhile, Lauren Loomer, she said this on September 10th. They sent a trained sniper to assassinate Charlie Kirk while he was sitting next to a table of hats that said 47. You could be next. I hate to say it, but I have a sick feeling we will be seeing more targeted assassination. The left are terrorists. She follows that up with, it's time for the Trump administration to shut down, defund, and prosecute every single leftist organization. If Charlie Kirk dies from his injuries, his life cannot be in vain. We must shut down these lunatic leftists down once and for all. The left is a national security threat. Then, once we find out who the killer is and everything, I wish I could say 3 hours later. No, it was 24 hours later. This is what she says now, right? Well, keep in mind all that, right? Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. I'm just doing the Usher joint right now. Watch this. Watch this. Here you go. I don't ever want to hear Charlie Kirk claim he is pro Trump ever again. After this weekend, I say he has revealed himself as a political opportunist, and I have had a front row seat to witness the mental gymnastic these last 10 years. Lately, Charlie has decided to behave like a Sheraton, or Charlton, claiming to be pro Trump one day while he stabs Trump in the back the next.
Wow.
TPUSA was only able to thrive thanks to the generosity of President Trump. On the 1 year anniversary of the assassination attempt on Trump's life, Charlie hosted at comic Dave Smith at TPUSA's SAS conference when Dave Smith was able to speak to a bunch of conservative youth at an organization that claims to be pro Trump. 3 weeks ago, Dave Smith called for President Trump to be impeached and removed from office over his decision to blow up Iran's nuclear facilities. Charlie played both sides of the Iran issue on his show, as we all saw, because he wants to play to both sides of the aisle. The honorable thing to do is to have a position and actually defend it to the death instead of flip flopping, lady. You want to talk about flip flopping? Great God Almighty. I mean, this is just some of the rhetoric. And then check out New York Post. Check out New York Post. Let's this ties into the killer. Check out New York Post. New York Post, the killer named Tyler Robinson. This is their exclusive headline. Tyler Robinson was raised Mormon and allegedly killed Charlie Kirk moments after influencer praised the church. And I like how they show this nice image of this clean cut young boy, young man. I'll give him respect, lack of, or a little bit. I mean, he's like 22, but he's still a kid in my book. But they got this clean cut, clean shaven, young white man, smile, and then they have another image there, juxtaposition there, image of him with his family, with his mom, his dad, and his brothers, and it's got that. Remember that TV show back in the day, The Hogan Family?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of got that whole little vibe going on and everything. Almost kind of have a step by step vibe there with Patrick Duffrey and Suzanne Summers and all of that. But then when you scroll further down on this same website, the New York Post, who I despise with a passion, they got this image of this black dude that apparently killed somebody, and they got this mean ass looking mugshot of this black dude. It's like, well, wait a minute here. I'm not making it a racial thing. It's just an interesting point of observation. I'm going, wait a minute here. You just shared with me an image of this guy that killed a polarizing figure. You dare not show a mugshot of him or anything. You got him, but the brother, you got him.
He's front page with you.
I'm like, oh shit. So let's talk a little bit about the killer real quick, and then Tams, I'm gonna shut up for a little bit and let you just kind of marinate on all of this, and then everybody else, you all can chime in on this and everything. But with what we know about the killer, again, 22-year-old James Tyler James Robinson, he is the alleged suspect. Robinson himself is not a registered voter. Apparently, he is not registered with either major party. He is nonpartisan, unaffiliated voter, per official voter registration record. So let me say that again. He is not registered with either major party. He is a nonpartisan slash unaffiliated voter
So
per
basically,
official
independent.
voter registration records. He did not participate in the 2020 uh, vote, and rightfully so, because he was still like underage. But
Right.
he definitely sat out of this last election. His parents, not that it should matter, but if we want to just out of curiosity, his parents are registered Republicans. There are reports, again, there are reports that Robinson's family are conservative in their politics and in some references described as a Republican family or staunch Trump supporters. Now, what we don't know right now, what remains to be unclear, is it is not confirmed that Robinson himself shares his parents' party affiliation and his political activity. Being part of a Republican family doesn't mean he voted Republican or formally aligns with their ideology, obviously. The motive is still under investigation, while Governor Spencer Cox has said Robinson had become more political in recent years and expressed negative views toward Charlie Kirk. There's no official confirmation the killing was strictly along party lines. Meanwhile, many early social media posts and commentary amplified certain assumptions about his political leanings or affiliations that have since been debunked or shown to be misleading. Obviously, we've made our rounds watching the news. We've got neighbors, and shout out to the father. The father was actually the one that turned his son in because he saw the photos. Was like, was this you? And the son pretty much came clean, and the father essentially did the right thing. And
he, from what I heard, he actually called a friend and a pastor.
Yeah.
And then all of them could basically talked to him into turning himself in.
Yeah. Go ahead. Talk for a little bit.
So
I was just setting it up for you all, but now that I've set it up for you all, we all can just, along with Tams, we can really, because Tams is mostly like focused on work. She knows a little bit here and there, so sometimes she is kind of like you guys that aren't really, what's the 411 league? Because I know you're plugged in. What's going? So now that I've plugged you all in, let's marinate on this.
Well, in reference to me, the funny thing is, I didn't know who Charlie Kirk was until Monday.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, okay, well, he's some influencer.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay. And then all the layers started unraveling, and it was like, whoa.
Mm-hmm.
And then just, hearing the magnitude. For me, it is sad when anyone loses a life. Because you are taking someone's father, brother, son, cousin, basically someone's family member away.
Mm.
because of your viewpoints or whatever your reasoning is. Either way, no reason that you could ever come up with is good enough. I don't know enough about what he has said. I mean, I could probably, assume
Let me give you.
some of the antics.
Let me jump in. I'll help you and everybody else out.
Well,
I will help you and everybody else out. I don't need to be long winded with this. But he has definitely, this has since been confirmed. He basically, I'm paraphrasing, but he has said that Martin Luther King was not good. That he was bad. Um, that's just, for starters, and when you look at the full context of that, you're kind of going, uh, well,
but that's more of a viewpoint.
it's a viewpoint, but
That's
I
his
think
opinion, not.
it's a viewpoint, but at the same time, when you have the type
Yeah,
of
that's true.
pull that he
That's true.
has, let's look at his, and I definitely want to show love to members of our LGBTQ plus community, because we do have listeners in the LGBTQ plus community. And I can just picture them now. Lee, you gotta mention. You gotta mention. We got all types of listeners that check out the show. I got you guys. He has repeatedly opposed gender affirming care, said there were only two genders, described transgender or gender fluid identities as lies that hurt people. He warned that policies favoring diversity and inclusion were threatening what he described as white majority culture. So, for example,
Boy.
he promoted ideas related to the great replacement theory, suggesting that immigration policies were diminishing white demographics in America. As far as the Civil Rights Act, yeah, he has gone on record and said that was a mistake.
Mm.
Oh yeah, I mean, it all ties to free speech. Obviously, it's like, hey, you're allowed to say whatever you want to say. That's what makes this country so great. Um, Political climate
Yeah.
where now
Yeah.
it's free speech, but you gotta really be careful with what you say, otherwise you're gonna catch a bullet. So I didn't mean to jump in like that, but you set it up perfectly for me. I didn't even plan
Yeah.
on bringing that up, but go ahead.
So, I mean, one's opinion is one's opinion. Does it make it right? No. Does it make it wrong? No. Because that's essentially one's opinion.
Mm.
Now, it becomes a problem, as Lee is stating, when you have such a following, because that following is going to hang off your every word.
Mm.
And then most likely pick up your basically what you're trying to say about this person, that person, and then maybe possibly it goes into their beliefs. I don't agree with the things that were said, but I don't agree that he should have caught a bullet for it. I mean, one has a difference of opinion. Maybe a couple people have a difference of opinion. You're not going to go shoot the person. Well, I mean, you shouldn't. Let me say that. You shouldn't go basically say, well, this isn't what I agree with. So let me just take this person out. That is never the way to solve anything. It actually is bringing more division, more hate to this whole process, this whole what's being said, from after his death about him, because now people are essentially spreading their opinions again.
Mm.
And it's still just that, opinions. So I'm neither here nor there in reference to my opinion on who and what this person is, or what he was to, the mass of his supporters, or what he was to his entire community. I think it was a terrible thing that happened to this man. Really. Did he deserve it? Nobody deserves that. Nobody. Should one be a bit more careful about what they say and how they say it, especially in this climate? Oh, yes. Pro and con. Pro and con. Because let me tell you, for me, there's really two things in a conversation I don't touch with someone I don't know: religion and politics. Because they're two very sensitive hot buttons for most. And just as I wouldn't try to force my beliefs on someone else, I don't want you to force your beliefs onto me. As that is my opinion, if you want to essentially say, well, here's what I've heard, here's what I've seen with my own two eyes, okay, then at that point, I can form my own opinion about whatever it is. But for someone to essentially have that much disdain, because in order to do this, you must have hatred and disdain for one said person. To literally go out, do everything that you have set out to do, buy a gun, have a gun, ammunition, scoping out the place, all of that. That takes time and preparation and skill. But either way, I mean, yeah, I guess he got his wish. The man is silenced. But what did he really accomplish? Really? I mean, it seems like not a whole hell of a lot to me, besides getting his ass in jail.
Well, not just that, but let's also look at the domino effect by this man's actions. He has now unintentionally put his entire family in the spotlight.
Yes,
He has now made them become victims
and
of
possibly targets
of this tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
Like right down to the point, this family, their lives as they know it will never be the same. Right down to the point they may have to try to see about not just relocating elsewhere, potentially out of the country. They
Right.
may have to try to see if they can go under different names.
When not only that, and possibly some type of a security detail.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, their lives as they know it, I mean, it
Are
is being
forever
turned, yeah, it's being turned upside down. Okay. Like all you can do, and I really want people to really understand this because let's not forget about the victim and his family, because when it's all said and done, there is now a family that is without their father, as Kirk leaves behind a beautiful wife, two young, beautiful children. And we can feel however we want politically. We can feel however we want, but we all need to agree there's a right and a wrong way of getting your point across. And to Tam's point, when it gets to that scenario where you wish to do physical harm to somebody, that's when you really need to take a step back and say, okay, you know what? I am too heavily invested in this shit. I need to take a step back and I need to go find something else to do. I need to, how
Talk to
can I
somebody,
turn,
something.
right? How can I turn in this into a positive,
Right.
something that will help the community, something that will, what, man, if I'm really feeling like that, gee, I don't know, maybe I can try to go see what I can do at my local community center or church, try to see if I can go door to door, talking to neighbors and stress to them the importance of something that we've talked about here on the show over the years, which is if you want to make change, start from the bottom up. That's how you do it. Make sure you're voting for the people that have the same ideology as you, your political, like all of that, right? That's how you fight fire with fire. You don't just go, well, damn, my side lost, or I can't stand, well, gee, I don't know. I'll just go pick up a gun or a knife and that's how I'll get my revenge. I'll show. No, that's a punk ass bitch move as far as I'm concerned. Right? That's not winning with intellect.
Nope.
That's not winning strategically.
It's not winning at any stretch.
It's not winning at all. It's savagery at best. At best. Okay? So make no mistake about it. There's a family that now has to bury their loved one. And then you've got this other family that they did it right. They made sure that all their children had the opportunities that they were not provided, which included living in a really nice neighborhood and trying to get their children the best education that's humanly possible, giving them nurturing love, respect, and just hoping that all of those elements alone will be enough to have them be a functioning, contributing member to society. And so for their child to pull a 180, no trouble with the law, like none of that, right? Straight A student or whatever the hell was going on with this young man. For them to find out, wait, my kid did that, right? I'm not trying to sympathize or show empathy. I'm just because there's a narrative when it's all said and done. Well, what I've been watching all this week by all the networks, I've not heard one of them go in that direction that I just brought up. And at its core, what I believe as far as journalism goes, we were asked this question in class this week, actually the past 2 weeks, but it was doubled down this week. What does journalism mean to you? And I thought about that a lot. And for me, journalism, for me, it means emotional contacts, it means accuracy, it means showing empathy, it means unbiased. Um, you know, it means enlightenment, right? But definitely trust, accuracy, like all those areas that I just mentioned, all of those to me, it means a great deal. And just the way some of these media outlets went about reporting this, it just made me shake my head from ethical and structural standpoint. As far as I was concerned, this event shows the power and the dangers of rhetoric and why media structure, especially as far as editors, fact checking, why all of that must be carefully scrutinized. Misinformation that's being proliferated, it shows to me how the media's drive for speed often comes ahead of accuracy. Because we're in this day and age, especially the worst thing that has happened to every single news organization, be it public, print, you name it, the worst thing that has happened is social media, because now they're curating, and I talked about this in my classes, they're curating their media coverage to be in bite-sized format for social media, because they're recognizing that with social media, they're not going to take the time out to read a 5, 6, 7 minute article. They're not going to take the time to watch a 3, 4, 5 minute video.
Right.
You basically have to curate that information in a catchy SEO attention grabbing title that will hook them. And then you got to have there be some type of and it's got to be a sensationalized SEO title to hook them. And then if you're going to do some type of a video, you pretty much got to make your point in like a minute or less. And it's all about farming for engagements, retweets, likes, because there's also that monetization aspect to it, which a lot of news media organizations care a great deal about. You also have to scrutinize the media organization itself. Okay, who's funding you? Like when it's all said and done, who do you guys answer to? Because that's going to tell me alone whether or not I'm going to get unbiased opinions and accurate reporting with what I'm seeing here. We already touched upon free speech and the whole debate about that, because some, to kind of circle back, are arguing that Kirk's speech contributed to political violence. Others warn such arguments become slippery slopes for blaming victims or stifling expression. You know, um, Erica Kirk, part of her statement suggests, the continuation of message and the mission. Basically, media, I will say, media should cover responsibly, not sensationalizing. It really should be fact based rather than being speculatory. Not for nothing, but one of my associates, mentors even, which I'm kind of having second thoughts about, but I watched them put out a story that they basically got ahead of because they felt it was their social media claim to fame that this would be their, and obviously it was a developing story, but with what they put out initially and how it actually turned out had upset a lot of people.
Yeah, backfired.
And it backfired. You know,
But the other part of what you're saying is also not just what you were saying as far as, tidbit size bites, for these outlets to be able to have their, claim to fame kind of thing. But the other big piece of that is the need, not even want, need to be first.
Yeah.
So you're trying to filter through all this information. Not only are you trying to make it concise and short and all this other stuff, but you also want to be first. And the thing with being first is, yeah, you can be first, but you may not always be right.
Yes.
And that in itself can be hurtful.
Yes.
In many different forms.
As we've seen this week. As we have seen this week. So there's no winners this week when it's all said and done. There isn't. I mean, if you want to say there was a winner this week, I'll maybe meet you halfway and say the social media influencers, those that were looking for clicks and monetizations, and and let me say this before we transition.
I do have a point.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely want you to make that point. But I would be remiss if I did not say this to the people, and they know who they are. To the people that posted on social media saying they were glad this guy is dead, laughing, high-fiving, break dancing. I've seen my fair share. without even looking for them. You are part of the problem in this country. You are part of the problem.
Yeah.
You all seriously need help. You really need to look yourselves in the mirror. Look, we all ain't perfect. But it's one of those things where I've said this for years. Treat people the way you want to be treated. I would think with respect. And guess what? Sometimes, and I know people, I know, sometimes people don't respect you. But guess what? When they don't respect you, you don't feel respected. That don't mean you go as low as they do.
Correct.
Sometimes you just continue to kill a motherfucker with kindness. They don't want to take the high road. That's okay. You show them every single time. You'll always be the bigger and better person every day of the week. That's how you do it. Could you just imagine if there was, could you just imagine people high-fiving, breakdancing and all that shit when Bobby Kennedy was killed? Or people that, I never particularly cared for Elvis Presley. So naturally, when I found out he died shitting on the toilet, I laughed my ass off and and I was high-fiving and, I can understand it now. Some people will say, well, Lee, America was celebrating when Osama bin Laden got taken out. Yeah, there's a reason for that. There's a reason why we were high fiving each other and going, "Fuck yeah!" and our fucking country was attacked. Okay,
and
don't get it twisted.
Sleeper cells here.
Yeah,
there were so many other different things that were under siege.
Yeah,
because of it.
Yeah,
But it's not one of your own.
Yeah,
I mean, apparently a U.S. citizen that is here.
I don't know what's happening. I really, I'm not trying to sound like an old man, but it's just because I'm not. I'm not an old man. But I don't know if it's the current influence of pop culture that has essentially desensitized this current and younger generations or what, but to see with my own two eyes people laughing and carrying on over the fact that this dude is dead just because they didn't like his opinion.
That's no reason.
I mean that I'm going. I'm losing faith in society.
Yeah.
And these are the same people that say, "Oh, we need to be kind to one another. We need to respect one another."
So which one is it?
Which one is it? Because you can't have it both ways when it's convenient for you. You were saying you wanted to touch upon something.
So in reference to you had asked sort of a rhetorical question. Were there winners this week? The only thing that I could say to that is in the influence of social media and of course the great police work that was going through in the area of Utah, that hopefully expedited the capture of this man.
Yeah.
So if there was any winners, there was a pretty speedy capture of the man that did this. Now, the celebrations and the snide comments or inadvertent comments that maybe those are your opinions, fine, but I do agree with Lee. Read the room. There's so much. Let me be frank, or at least this is the way I feel about it. There's so much racism and hatred that people don't even know. Because we don't take the time to truly get to know a person anymore. You have no idea what that person's political views are, what their opinions are, who you're even truly talking to. Because honestly, we don't get that deep anymore. into conversations. So that person that you just had, a quick 5-minute conversation with, you don't really know them. You only got a snapshot.
Well, hell, let's take it a step further. Just to add on to your thought, sometimes it's not even about having that 5 minute conversation if you're even lucky.
Mm-hmm.
I'll use myself as a perfect example. I have a Malcolm X tattoo, as many of you all know, on my arm. It's on my inner arm. And I can only imagine the type of looks that I've gotten from some of my classmates and in my classes these past 2 weeks now. I have had some that have been looking at my arm the entire class, and I'm going, man, I wish this student would just ask me, what my tattoo is about. Why did I get it? I'd be more than happy to have a conversation with them or whatever. And I would imagine that some people are going, oh, well, because he has that tattoo,
Mm-hmm.
he's an extremist, and because he has that tattoo, he's racist. He don't care for you. Like it's like, so you've already got some people that's assuming the worst. It's interesting. I'll make this point. It's interesting. In my sociology class this week, we were talking about how COVID and the vaccines. We were going over from a psychology standpoint, sociology standpoint mainly. Why was it that so many people were not able to get the vaccines initially, and some people were able to get the vaccines? And there was one student, and I kind of chuckled inside because we have to be respectful, and we want to make sure that everybody's opinion feels welcome. But for me, this was like the dumbest thing that was said within reason. He goes, well, I'm from Montgomery County, Maryland, which is a rich county and everything. Oh, his exact words, a rich white county. And I actually felt my head, and I it really did, I felt my head snap back as I looked at him. And I'm thinking to myself, there's a bunch of black people that live in Montgomery County,
Montgomery
and
County is
Hispanics.
so
It's
multi-ethnic.
multi-ethnic like a motherfucker. And I'm going, he says big, rich, white county. And he talked about how it was difficult for him and his family to initially get the COVID vaccines in Montgomery County
Why? Because they
because
weren't rich or white?
because it was a big, rich, white county. But that when he went up to Prince George's County, he said it was a poor black area. And he was
there's a
able.
stereotype.
Woo! And I'm thinking to myself, brother, if you have only seen the areas of PG County, yes, there are some parts of PG County that is, but there are also beautiful, beautiful areas. Leisure World, for anybody that doesn't know, Leisure World is a perfect example of, wow, I didn't know this was in PG. Like, what the it's like its own fucking zip code. I mean, we're talking condominiums, homes, they've got their own personal security at the gates. Like, you ain't getting in there. It's like Fort Knox, right? I just couldn't help but chuckle on the inside, going, perfect example, why you should not judge a book by its cover. To the points that you were making, please continue.
So
You feel me though?
um
Big rich white neighborhood. Oh no, I'm sorry, big rich white county.
Yeah, we pay plenty of taxes. So
if that's the case, I should be looking at 4 cars. I should be looking at 4 cars in front of our parking spaces in front of our house right now. But like, we should have more than 2 cars right now. That's new. That's news to me. Where's our housekeeper? That's news to me.
You got me right. Look, the check is in the mail.
Shit.
So, in reference to that, is again an opinion and a stereotype. Maybe for him, that is where he lives, he grew up, and his section of Montgomery County is that way. But the funny thing is maybe even better said, is a lot of people in Montgomery County, maybe possibly working class, maybe possibly the fact that they have insurance that would cover it, could be reasons why, there was so many other people in Montgomery County. I mean, because believe me, there were lines out the SSS to in Maryland in general to essentially get the vaccine. So there's so many different variables, but that's still opinion based. It's not factual. It's, there's so many instances you could essentially look at and pull from to say that's your opinion, but not stated fact. And as a society, we've gotten so used to a person's opinion being fact because they stated it in some realms. Not saying that everything is that way, but I mean, how many of these, social media influencers or, videos on your social media platform, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all of those. Oh, well, I saw this on X platform. That's right. That's what it is. Instead of going out of your way and actually researching it for yourself to figure out if that is such the case.
Mm-hmm.
And then the part of that, as far as an opinion piece, it grows because now this person has the same opinion and then relays it to 4 or 5 other people, and then it's a whole thing. So it's very dangerous, actually. It's very dangerous in so many forms in reference to someone's opinion, and it's not fact-based to the point where you almost don't know what to believe anymore.
It's interesting that you said that, because that's a perfect segue to the following. I hate to say we told you so. Ooh, say it isn't so. WrestleMania 43. I know that's a hard 180, but stay with us. It connects.
Didn't you say I told you so before?
It connects. It connects.
Okay.
It connects. It connects. Stay with us. Watch this. Because you guys are like, wait a minute, that's a hard 180. Like, how does this stay with us? Because it's about media framing and what's been reporting. Okay? So I literally just gave you the answers to the cheat sheet just now. So WrestleMania 43 is officially confirmed to take place in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia in 2027. Part of Riyadh season. This will be the first WrestleMania held outside of North America. This partnership in history, WWE has been hosting multiple events a year in Saudi Arabia since 2018, as many of you all know. This under a long-term deal with the Saudi General Entertainment Authority, aligned with the Saudi Vision 2030. Saudi Arabia's Riyadh season will be hosting WrestleMania 43, which is part of that ongoing collaboration. Meanwhile, comments from leadership, Turkey, Allah, I don't know how to pronounce that. The chairman of GEA said, this marks a significant moment in our partnership with WWE, and that they want to deliver a WrestleMania unlike anything the world has ever seen. WWE's Triple H Paul Levesque also said the move demonstrates WWE is a global brand, that this takes the Saudi partnership to a new level. Other Saudi WWE events that's going to be coming up, we got the 2026 Royal Rumble. that'll be held in Riyadh, marking that Big Five event's first time outside North America. Also, other WWE event history in Saudi, Night of Champions, Elimination Chamber, Raw, SmackDown have already been held there under this deal. Let's address some of the controversies, the reactions, the ethical angles to this, because there's a lot. Obviously, when this WrestleMania announcement was made, if you were on WWE's YouTube page, you definitely would have seen sold out. WWE has sold out, as fans have reacted strongly. Right down to the point, even and I watched this in real time. I was watching WWE Worlds Collide. And when they did the WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia joint, the fans at Worlds Collide, a AAA event, a Spanish wrestling show. Wrestling fans unanimously chanted, "You sold out." You know, I can hear that, right?
Sorry.
Yeah. They chanted, "You sold out." Obviously, many fans are upset that WWE is prioritizing profit over tradition and its respective fans in North America. Let's now look at this from a broader perspective. Did you touch the mic again?
No.
I heard something there. Human rights, sports washing concerns. Critics are pointing out that the Saudi government's record on women's rights, LGBTQ rights, freedom of expression, and they're saying that WWE deals amount to sports washing. So, we have all that's going on. If you look at the logistics and you're talking about brand identity questions, if WrestleMania is moved outside of North America, and North America has essentially always been the home base, the main base, the hardcore base for fans, what does the future hold for future WrestleManias? Does this mean that, look, the tickets have gone up astronomically over the years for WrestleMania, but now that you're going to be doing this outside of North America, does this make and I'm going to answer that question right now, yes, and a unanimous yes, this is going to make the tickets go up even more, so that when they do bring it back to the States, yeah, it's not going to be a case where, oh, we got to adjust, because no, it's going to be, and look, not for nothing, but these days when you go to a Raw or SmackDown event, it really has become a, did you go? Oh man, Method Man was there. Oh, Rick Rubin was there. Oh, Lady Gaga, fat chance of that happening, but you get the gist that I'm saying. Like, it's now, if you want to be seen, it seems like if you want to be in with the in crowd, I was at this event and all of that bullshit. So let's look at the media framing and the fan narrative as far as how WWE and media outlets frame this move, right? On the one hand, you got progressive global expansion, which we just kind of highlighted, and we'll talk about more, versus the whole sellout. Okay. Look at it from a transparency and incentive standpoint and ask yourselves this question. Are fans being told the full context as far as financial deals, venue logistics, political concerns? What is the incentive for WWE to partner with Saudi Arabia, and how is that covered or ignored? Right? Think about the voices in reaction. Which voices get amplified? The fans, the critics, local governments, and whose voices are marginalized? Think about the LGBTQ, the Saudi citizens, and all of that, right? Because you have to think about all of this, right? Now, we have all these hit pieces that's running around, Tams and everybody, talking about Saudi Arabia, they're still killing people left and right. And let's talk about the good right now, and let's talk about the bad while we really set this up and really dive in on this. So remember the Saudi Arabia Vision 2030 and Women's Rights Progress Plan. The plan was pushed for economic and social reforms, including lifting the driving ban for women in 2018. As it stands right now, women can now drive, travel without needing a male guardian in many cases. They can apply for passports, they can get married, register divorces, okay? Reforms have also included anti harassment laws, improvements in employment, discrimination protections, allowing women to work in sectors that were previously closed off to them. All right, so a little bit of progress. Let's keep going. More good news. Far as from a cultural, economic, and entertainment, more public events, concerts, cinemas opening up, women participating in sports. There's a launching of things like a 24-hour women's sports channel in Saudi Arabia, which
Mhm.
shows increasing visibility support for women's sports domestically. As far as legal and regulatory changes, the submission of universal periodic reports to UN, opening up some transparency to show what reforms are being claimed. Some reforms in civil law draft penal code efforts, though with controversy, suggesting Saudi Arabia is trying to codify laws that used to be more discretionary. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, I just gave you guys some good. A lot of people aren't going to be doing this. A lot of people are just going to be poo pooing all over this, and sweet Saudi blood money, ha ha ha, and fuck WWE and all this, right? I just gave you guys some good. Here's some of the continued problems and criticisms: violations of basic civil liberties and political dissent. You've got arbitrary arrests, detentions of people for peaceful expressions, severe punishments after unfair trials. This is according to uh, Rights Watch and a few other outlets. You've got crackdowns on scholars, religious critics. Activism remains very dangerous. Forced labor, migrant workers abuse. Despite some labor reforms, many migrant workers, especially in domestic sectors, still face forced labor conditions, exploitative working hours, and wage theft. The death penalty, especially for drug offenses and foreigners. Saudi executes people. You heard me right. Saudi executes people for non-violent drug crimes. In 2024 and early 2025, there's been a noted increase in executions, many of those being foreign nationals. Concerns over unfair trials and lack of legal representation. Censorship, lack of political freedom, no real elections at national level, restrictions on freedom of speech, press, assembly, surveillance, repression of dissent remains serious concerns. So when you look at things from Amnesty International on nonviolent drug offense executions, quoted as saying, this is by the Associate Press, hundreds executed over the past decade. More than half were foreign nationals with minimal legal representation. I mean, really, really stop and think about that. And if you are part of the LGBTQ plus community in Saudi Arabia, yeah, you still want to be definitely very discreet. To quote one of my favorite Luther Vandross songs, "Your Secret Love," you still need to tread very, very lightly. Okay. So that's the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to this whole WWE Saudi Arabia. I mean, we talked about it back in 2000, 16, 17, when the deal initially went down, and we talked about how polarizing of a deal it was. We talked about how this was going to divide many people, and We had those that were like, "Fuck WWE, fuck Saudi Arabia. I refuse to watch any show that happens in Saudi Arabia." And I said at the time, and you did as well. Hey, you feel that way. You have every right to feel that way. Allow those emotions to come in. It's fine. But guess what? You are just a cog in the machine. The machine is going to go on without you. Okay. More power to you. But we said the train's going to keep on rolling, and the train has continued to roll. And now look at where we are. This comes as no surprise, as me and Tams predicted this as far back as 2021, if not 2022, before we were even asked by listeners regularly, do you think Saudi Arabia will get a WrestleMania? And the original prediction, I know the year that Tams gave, but the original number that I gave, I said, I could see maybe right before 2035, I could see a WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia if this is done right. Well, that's going to be happening a lot sooner.
A lot sooner indeed. Well, I mean, I'm happy to essentially hear about some of the progress that has been made there. There's so much business, and there's trying to expand the product, and then of course there's so much stuff out there, but essentially a publicly traded business is going to operate in what's best for business, not public opinion.
I'm listening. Keep going.
Oh, well, I mean, to be honest with you, do I personally agree with it? I don't really think that WrestleMania really should. I guess because, I mean, just for me, it was founded here. It has always been here. You can do your main staple shows and Night of Clash or Night of Champions or whatever.
SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, Survivor Series.
But your main flagship show that is literally your Super Bowl. That's like having the Chiefs be in the Super Bowl with, I don't know, the Commanders. And basically say, well, instead of actually putting it at the home team, which say the Commanders had the home field advantage, well, we're really just going to put it in Paris.
Or just to clean that up a little bit, we know the Super Bowl has always been in North America, but this year we're going to do it in Paris.
Right. And it's like, huh? So for me,
which, spoiler alert, that eventually is going to happen. I hate to say that to you NFL fans, but that eventually is going to happen. I think way before 2035, there's going to be a Super Bowl overseas.
There's a lot more games that are going overseas.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, you could almost say that it's a trend. As far as taking it from where it is now, which is USA only, to literally globally. Because with the internet, and that's another thing, with the internet, one could essentially be under the impression or assumption that it's like, well, it's nice to be able to watch these things on YouTube and, Facebook and whatever have you, but we don't get that chance to see it live. And so it seems to be like more and more companies are like, well, yeah, come over here. We'll give you that money. And of course, as a business, most people are not going to say no.
It's so easy for people to shit on this deal, and rightfully so, because we just went over the good and the bad that's been happening in Saudi Arabia. Can I just really home in? I want to follow up on what you said, and I want to sound off on this more from a marketing and a business perspective. But look, if you are, just going back to the LGBTQ, for example, in Saudi Arabia, same-sex relationships are criminalized. Under Shari'i law, homosexuality is considered a crime and can be punished by prison, flogging, and even the death penalty. Transgendered identity is not legally recognized, and gender affirming care is not available. There's no anti-discrimination laws protecting the LGBTQ plus individuals in employment, housing, education, or healthcare. Pride flags, symbols, or even colors perceived to promote homosexuality are banned, including toys, T-shirts, social media content, even. So, you know,
I mean, one is going to essentially have to change their lifestyle to attend one of these events.
mm,
If that does indeed counter is counterintuitive from what their regulations and rules are.
fun fact: during the 2022 FIFA World Cup discussions, Saudi Arabia pressured Qatar to not allow rainbow armbands or LGBTQ plus messaging in stadiums, despite not being the host country. So, there's the, that.
There's still plenty of things to iron out.
Yes.
And and see how they can come to a happy medium.
Yeah.
And I would hope that yes, you've gotten the deal, but what is more important is, are your patrons coming from another country? Are they going to be safe?
So let me there's a lot to this. To all the people that's going, well, Vince McMahon never did this. Vince McMahon cared about the American fan. Vince McMahon always made sure that tickets were available at a reasonable price. Things were so much better under Vince McMahon. I hate to burst that bubble for you guys, but I'm gonna say this nicely because other people will be using more venom towards that ideology. You all are so simple with that rhetoric. You all are very simple with that rhetoric. Okay? TKO's Mark Shapiro literally threw Vince McMahon under the bus this week, too. He essentially said, yeah, well, with Vince McMahon's ideology, he actually was losing money. And what we have been doing is trying to figure out how to maximize profits and the little things, increasing ticket prices, for example, because
but astronomically.
Well,
I mean, they literally are
well, let me be devil's advocate. I hear you. I hear you. I hear
the average fan.
I hear you. Let me be devil's advocate. Let me be devil's advocate. If I were to tell you, what you snacking on there? Oh, y'all are having a field day. Damn. Let me tackle it this way. Okay? If I'm WWE and originally I was having my wrestlers and my shows out there for, let's just say, 250 days, 250 days, 275 days out of the year. We're out there on the road. And if I were to come out there and say, okay, you know what? We're going to really trim the fuck out of this, right? We're going to go from 275 dates. We're going to trim that shit down to 185, 200 dates. We're going to really make this feel very special, what we're doing. We're going to make this feel very, very special, what we're doing. Then, if I'm figuring things out from a logistical standpoint, right? If I'm going in a position where I say, okay, you know what? Out of a calendar year, we would hit up New York City at least 20 times. Now, under the way I'm operating my business, New York, it drops from 20 to 5. Only 5 times out of the year, I'm going to be bringing my talents and my show to the New York area. Right?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm doing all of these smart things and I'm taking advantage of inflation, I'm taking advantage of, like, trust me, folks, I don't think it's right. Make no mistake about it. But I'm being devil's advocate at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm going to do what I need to do because if I'm going to be incorporating drone usage for my shows, because I got a responsibility to how my content is being consumed by those watching it on television or whatever their respective devices, okay, I got to recoup some of that money back somehow for everything that I'm doing from a production standpoint. Okay, that's what most people aren't realizing when, they go, oh, but now I can't afford a wrestling ticket anymore. I can't. Yeah, well, duh, of course. Because look at who WWE is now in bed with. It's now about the almighty dollar. Okay? This whole notion of WWE, they sold out. They sold out to the Saudi Arabia, WWE. I hate to break it to people. WWE sold out the minute that they became a publicly traded company back in the early 2000s. That is when WWE stopped being a family owned business. Once they started having responsibility to shareholders and all that. Now, look, some people could say, well, wait a minute, Lee. But Vince McMahon still had controlling power, and I hear you. I hear you, and yes, I would agree. But the minute that they became a publicly traded company, that's when the tides shifted. Okay? Plain and simple. So I look at what's currently going on with the WWE product. Trust me, as a wrestling fan, it breaks my heart because we were talking about it earlier. John Cena's retirement joint, it was supposed to be in Boston. But allegedly, WWE told Boston, city government or whatever, look, we want like $7-8 million. Like, what's up? And Boston's like, whoa, that's too steep for our blood. We really don't think we're going to get a return investment on that. Yeah,
because
we're
it literally is 2 weeks before Christmas.
right. We're like, yeah, nah, we're going to pass on that. And so now Washington, D.C. is now going to be the place for John Cena's final show. And I already told Tams, I said, I would love to get tickets to go see John Cena, but I already know that the tickets are going to be,
through the roof.
Through the roof, even for like a nosebleed seat. It's going to be like through the fucking roof. So you know what? Got the next best seat in the house. And look, I've gotten to a point now where I don't mind just kicking back at home and watching the television production. I really don't, because I'm going to get those beautiful angles that I'm not going to be able to see anywhere else. And then, not to mention, we don't have to worry about that stupid ass parking situation. We don't have to worry about after the event is over. And oh my God, it's going to take us at least 45 minutes to an hour to get out of this goddamn parking lot. Now, granted, memories are forever, and it's, but nothing beats seeing it in person, to be able to say that you were actually there.
Mainly the experience of the event.
Yeah.
But at what point do you basically say to yourself, when am I going to price out of basically the local, the average fan.
Mm-hmm.
When am I going to price out? Because you essentially are raising your ticket prices so much that the average person can't do that. Now, in all fairness, there are some ways that you can. I mean, there are so many people that are taking advantage of the, paying for us, pay overtime and all of that for everything now. Hotels, events, everything.
Hotels, motels, Holiday Inn.
So, in reference to that, yes, okay, you do have that. But good grief, who wants to be paying till they're freaking 5 years down the road for one event that happened 5 years ago?
I'm trying to go to I'm trying to go to a WWE event, and it's like trying to pay back my college tuition.
Yes. And it's like,
let me say this. Let me say this. I hear you and your frustration.
And don't get me wrong. Let me say this just to really piggyback very quickly.
Okay.
I get it as a business expense. I get that people need to turn a profit, otherwise you're out of business. Yeah. I get that wholeheartedly. But what feels like 50% of your revenue is coming from your increased ticket sales. And to me, it feels like, okay, maybe raise, a little over here, a little over here, a little over here, a little over here to make up a bulk thing. And maybe they are, but still, I do believe that the ticket prices, WrestleMania ticket prices alone were jaw-dropping.
Look, let me tell you something. I'm getting ready to say something. I'm getting ready to drop some serious logic on Tams and everybody right now. And I've been saying this shit for years. And I'm gonna give you the perfect analogy. Earlier today, I was thinking about Burger King. I said, man, you know what? I would like a chicken sandwich with cheese on it. I don't want no lettuce. I don't want no tomato. I just want cheese on it. I want a large hash brown. I want a large fry. And I want a Bacon King cheeseburger. Now, obviously, I wasn't going to sit down and eat all this shit by myself. But whenever I am fiending for Burger King, that's usually my go-to, and I'll stretch that out over a couple of days. Tams will tell you, I'll stretch that out right down to the point. I'll be like, hey, hun, want half of this burger? And she'll join me. She don't care about the chicken sandwich. So I already know the chicken sandwich. I
don't care about Burger King, guys.
She don't care about Burger King, right?
I do like their fries though.
Fries are good, right? So, but I'll, if it's just me, I'm left alone, I'll stretch that out for a couple of days. Stay with me now, because this links to WWE. Now, before, I remember when a chicken sandwich from Burger King was under $5. I remember when fries was like $1.75, $2. I remember whatever sandwich you were trying to get from, one of their Whoppers or whatever. I remember a time when it was like $3, almost $4. That little bit of stuff that I was thinking about ordering, having it delivered here.
Mm-hmm.
Minus
keyword having it delivered.
Having it delivered here. Minus the delivery fee was $30. And I just told you guys 4 items. I said hash browns, fries, chicken sandwich, Bacon King sandwich.
And did you get a drink?
No drink. No drink. Mm-hmm. Now add in the delivery fee. Now it's $40. $40 for 4 items. I'm going, damn, inflation like a motherfucker. You know what I did? I said, let me take my black ass downstairs Tams did a little bit of grocery shopping the other day. I said, let me take my black ass downstairs. Let me see what I can find. And I'll just, and within seconds, I found something and I ate it.
Right.
Now, some of you guys are probably saying, Lee, how does this tie back to what you just talked about in regards to WWE and all of that? Allow me to elaborate. You don't like the current prices that's happening with WWE? They too rich for your blood? I feel you on that. Even more the reason why. And long-time listeners know what I'm getting ready to say. No, long-time listeners know what I'm getting ready to say. I've been saying this for years. More the reason why you should be supporting your local wrestling fed.
Mm-hmm.
If you got access to seeing a local wrestling fed and you can basically see future superstars of tomorrow, what better bragging rights do you get than saying, hey, I remember this person when they were coming up. I remember seeing them locally performing in front of 50 people, every weekend. And wow, look at where they are now. They finally made it to WWE or New Japan, or they made it to AEW. And let me circle back to AEW for a second. Now more than ever, Tony Khan, if you tired of what's happening with WWE, even more the reason why you need to be supporting Tony Khan and AEW. Because if I could bend Tony Khan's ear, I would say to Tony Khan, you need to pull an Eric Bischoff. As a matter of fact, I would encourage Tony Khan, if he hasn't even watched it, I would encourage him to watch that Eric Bischoff DVD that we both gave glowing reviews for back in the day. And Tony Khan, needs to make his own list and go, what is WWE doing?
And let me do the opposite.
And let me do the opposite. Okay, WWE wants to essentially take their show out more on the road internationally. They want to start giving away their premium events such as WrestleMania and all these other motherfuckers to Saudi Arabia shows and all of that. Okay, then we need to be the new home-based alternative for our American audiences.
Yep.
They want to keep jacking up prices and making them this much.
We're
going to lower our prices. Tony Khan did something really fucking cool like 2 weeks ago. There was a ROH pay-per-view. I can't remember the name of it right now. But basically, halfway into the pay-per-view, there were streaming issues. I mean, it was really, really bad. They had the gremlins. What does Tony Khan do? Tony Khan goes, let's stream the rest of the pay-per-view for free live on YouTube. And he put out a statement apologizing in real time what was going on. And he was like, everybody, he was like, even if you didn't pay for the pay-per-view, you're now able to enjoy the second half. So go check it out. And it's still on YouTube.
Cool.
As we speak, it's that second half. It's still on YouTube. Okay. So, but like Tony Khan and AEW, they need to do the polar opposite of what's going on. Right down to the point. Right down to the point. Oh, WWE Raw, their flagship show, it's now on Netflix, in which you need a subscription. Okay, well, if I'm Tony Khan, I'm going, Tony,
let's holler at USA.
No. Listen. If I'm Tony Khan, I'm going, okay, WWE Raw is now on Netflix, to which you need a subscription. Well, I'm going to do the polar opposite, okay? I'm going to make sure that since we already partnered up with Warner Brothers Discovery, I'm going to test the waters and see what happens if we have AEW Dynamite and or Collision air on a Monday night. Let's see what happens. We'll have it air on a Monday night. Let's see what type of viewership that we're able to get. Maybe we can kind of somehow pick up the void of what once was. But Tony Khan and AEW needs to make a list of what is AEW currently doing. And to your point, yeah, let's do the opposite. Okay, they're playing more to this base. They want to play more to the international fans. We need to play more to the American fans. And we can do that by, don't keep doing blow for blow. Because when you keep trying to match WWE for blow, you're going to lose every time.
Because they're a juggernaut.
AEW's in a prime position right now where if they
Mhm.
can really strategically do this right, they can truly be a number two alternative.
Mhm.
WWE has literally set it up for them on the platter.
Mhm.
They just got to seize the opportunity,
Absolutely.
right? WWE can continue to, and this isn't coming from an AEW dick sucker, WWE hater. This is just, you're talking to somebody that is just able to look at the wider picture.
More importantly, I've written about, been around the block a couple times. So it's not like where you're just new to this game, you're new to, what can be. You're essentially looking at it as a whole and seeing, okay, this needs a fill.
Mm-hmm.
How can they fill it?
Look at this for a second, just to let you guys know I'm on the right path. AEW did something cool like a couple of weeks ago. Somehow it escaped me. I never did bring it up on the show, but I thought it was like the coolest fucking thing that they did. AEW had partnered up with White Castle, and they had like this really cool AEW. I bullshit you not.
Lord.
I bullshit you not. As funny as this is, they hooked up with White Castle. They did like this AEW meal. And then if I remember it right, y'all have to correct me. Otherwise, I'll research it and I'll know by the time we do Monday show. But if I remember right, I think when you purchased the meal, you got like a discount off of future AEW tickets, or you got AEW tickets to that respected show in that area. They did something weird, but they had an AEW meal. I was like, holy shit. AEW needs to continue to do more shit like that. I would be like, Tony Khan, AEW. Here in the DMV, we used to do this cool thing where if you were collecting, if you were buying Pepsi or Doritos, if you cut off the little coupon, you got $4 off for Six Flags. Okay, Tony Khan, AEW, do something similar to that. Hey, we partnered up with, whoever.
Wow. Look at back in the day. Everybody is back into the trinkets and the tokens, or at least it seems that way.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, you just had Subway do Happy Gilmore meals.
Yes.
So why not?
Yeah.
Expand.
Yeah.
7-Eleven, some of your real big national chains, why not partner up?
Okay, WWE partners up with who did they partner up with those cups? Who was that?
Which one?
The recent cups. Who was that? Bojangles.
Oh yeah, Bojangles.
Okay, WWE hollered at Bojangles. I'm saying to AEW, okay, go
McDonald's.
Holler. No, that's a little too high now. Wait a minute now. Wait a minute now. We're reaching.
Okay, Hardee's.
Okay, that's a little better. That's a little bit. I was going to say Crystals. That's a little, or Church's Chicken. That's a little bit more within their wheelhouse. But uh, uh, Quick Mart.
Oh God.
Sheets. AEW partnering up with Sheets.
Yeah. That's believable.
Right. AEW and Charlie's. I can see that. AEW and Charlie's doing a little Charlie's steak and cheese subs and all that
out in the DMV.
I can see them doing some stuff like that, right? Mm-hmm. Right. Just put the bar a little bit lower, and kind of go from there, But no, it's right there on the silver platter for them to take. They're already doing the right moves by playing at smaller venues, playing to okay.
And you're probably getting better crowds.
Right.
And essentially asses and seats.
Right.
So that when you really start to expand, then those bigger venues won't be as hard to fill.
Exactly.
Because your base is already there.
Exactly. Shit. Hey, WWE's hooking up with Maybelline. Okay, well, AEW, it probably won't happen, but maybe AEW and Mary Kay, or maybe AEW and who's the other?
Revlon.
No. who's the people that you all hate? They're like your public enemy. Mary Kay
Oh, you
and
did my Avon.
Avon. There you go. AEW and Avon. You know, you could do like weird shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's not that hard,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, WWE is hooking up with WWE is hooking up with Oscar Mayer for their hot dogs or whatever. AEW is hooking up with the Wahlberg brothers.
Oh,
Okay,
right.
right?
Which
Wahlberg
actually
brothers.
isn't a bad idea.
Yeah,
Because they're a smaller chain,
exactly.
but big reach.
But big reach, exactly. Switching it up. So there's our thoughts about that one. Switching it up a little bit. Some last little bit of notes. Shout out to Motley Crue. Looks like the band's gonna be looks like the band's gonna be gearing up to perform a 10-date show out in Las Vegas. Remind me of the singer's name again. Is it Vince Neil?
I feel like it's Vince Neil.
Apparently the dude suffered a damn stroke before Christmas.
Yeah, that's what I
And
thought.
he pretty much has been rehabbing ever since. His doctors apparently told him that he was never going to be able to perform again. And he's going,
No,
nah,
I won't.
you know, he's like, yeah, you telling me what? And apparently he did one hell of a comeback, and I can't wait to see the footage and how he's looking. I know in the more later years, he was looking really, really bad. Like even before the whole revelation of the stroke came out, he was looking, honestly, I did not recognize him. I mean, because he was greatly obese. I mean, he had,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
he looked like he was about to drop. I mean, that's how, you know what I mean, folks? Like, there's certain people that you look at and you just go, oh, okay, well, no, that looks about right. How old is he? Oh, well, that looks about right. Yeah, he should probably look right at about, yeah, and it looks healthy on them. But he looked unhealthy. He looked like there was some type of underlining shit that was going on where you're just like, hope this guy's careful. I know over the years, some of the footage I would see of him, legit, I'm going, hope he's okay. And then I would just shake it off and go, probably nothing. So to hear that he actually suffered a stroke, you're like, wow, that's just insane to hear. So again, I'm looking forward to seeing the footage that comes out because I can't wait to see because some of the footages that be running around, with some acts, you're going, okay, they're looking. Hey, he can still perform. That's good, and it is Vince Neil, who I was thinking.
That's
When you said that, it is Vince Neil. And there is a recent picture that's floating around of him. It definitely gives me hope that that he's okay. He seems to be much smaller, and I could do without the bad dye hair
Oh,
hair
you mean
job.
the bad 80s hair?
No. He I don't know what it is, but it just seems like people are trying to make sure that you know who they are by making sure their hair and their beard is still the same color as it was back in the day, and you just know for a fact that they're dyeing their shit. It's like, you don't need to dye your shit, dude. Just get out there and fucking perform. Like, that's all we care about. So, speedy recovery, ongoing, nothing but good health and wishes to Vince Neil. Meanwhile, uh, D. Snyder from Twisted Sister making some headline news. Fantastic interview that he did with Eddie Trunk earlier in the week, and I'm really happy to see that the interview has been picking up a lot of steam and everything. But he was telling Eddie Trunk that as far as um, Twisted Sister reuniting to go on tour one more time, for him, it's not about the money, apparently. And it's like, well, if it's not about the money, and usually it's always about the money, If it's not about the money, then what is this about and everything? And D. Snyder is basically saying, we like the idea of a challenge. We like the idea of going out there and performing. We like the idea of reuniting and performing during this 50th anniversary tour, but we want to do this in a way where we're doing it justice. If we can't go out there and perform at the highest level that's humanly possible, and if I don't feel in my heart of hearts that we can do it, then honestly, we've got no purpose being out there. But part of what he had said to Eddie Trunk, I'm using a direct quote. He said, "If you're lucky enough to be in a band that people still want to see after 50 years, how can you not answer the call?"
If you can still do it, why not?
Yeah. And this is I can't wait to see what they're gonna be able to do. I've seen a little bit of stuff off and on over the years. I know they had did their 40 and fuck it farewell tour. I love that name, man. Yeah, that was like back in like 2016. And for years, Snyder insisted that he had no interest in reuniting, though he did join Mendoza and French for a 2023 performance with Twisted Sister when they were inducted into the Heavy Metal Hall of Fame. And Snyder, who, let's not beat around the bush, he's now age 70.
Wow.
All right. And, he's like, yo, I'm getting the itch. Let's go ahead. Let's do this. Let's make it happen. And he realizes that, look, there's a big difference between going out there and doing like a five song, 8 song set, but now you're talking about, now we're going to go into double digits. Now we're going to go about 90 minutes, 2 hours strong.
Mhm.
And it creates a very interesting question, Hun, which is, I'm thinking about some of the stuff that I've seen in recent years. I mean, on our Facebook page, for example, still one of the most polarizing clips to this day is of David Lee Roth that we shared, him performing, and all the comments that continue to come in where they're going, what is Mr. What was the doctor on, what's that show from back in the day? Lost in Space?
Mm.
The professor and the robot. Ooh, you bumbling idiot! Get away from me! What is that dude's name? The actor. He was on an episode of Sanford and Son. He came by doing the whole scam with the toilet in the cabinet. Um,
I still don't remember the guy's name, but I do know.
You know the actor I'm talking about, though. So many people in the Facebook comments section were saying David Lee Roth looks like him, looks like the professor from Lost in Space. I just bust up laughing every time I see a new comment come in, because now before I even read the comment, I'm looking at David Lee Roth, and he's literally looking like the fucking professor from Lost in Space. But we've seen some pretty shitty performances from some people who it's like, yeah, you probably should maybe hang it up already, but what's just checking in, because it's nice to check in with you every couple of years and then and ask the question, uh, where's your headspace at when you see some of these people in their, it's not even so much about them in their 60s, but now when they're in their 70s and up and they're going out there and they're still performing. Because for me, I'm a bit amazed that with everything that had happened during the pandemic, you would have thought that, and I say pandemic because when the pandemic went down, we saw bands such as Metallica, Green Day, just to name a few, that did these online concerts from their own home, or they had all hooked up via Zoom, and they were doing jam sessions, playing a couple of sets. And since then we've seen bands embrace social media as a new way of connecting with their fan base to the point that they're now offering subscriptions. They're now offering, a little monthly streaming joint where, hey, by before the end of the month, the band's going to be on at this time, and you'll be able to watch them, perform live and all this other stuff. How do you feel these days about seeing some acts in their 70s and up still going out there, not going the social media route, but going out there and physically performing in front of a crowd?
So, speaking as someone who, for lack of better words, for lack of better phrases at this point, grew up on listening to music that was, you know, um, yeah, of course, I grew up listening to, the 80s, 90s, 70s music. But back in my childhood, those people who essentially were performing in the 50s and the 60s and even in the 70s were still performing. So some of those people, and even into the 90s, if you want me to be honest, and you and I both know that there are still bands that are performing that were popular in the 50s. Not many, but there are a few. And they don't have majority of the original members. Um, to name one, the Four Tops. Well, the Four Tops is one of them, but that's also not exactly the one I was thinking of.
You were thinking of the
The
Temptations.
Temptations,
Yeah.
right? I mean, obviously,
And
we
I'll
still
see you
do
and
have
raise you, Beach Boys.
and Beach Boys, right? So people want the experience. You're not going to get the experience from in front of your computer. People want the experience of going out and trying to relive their youth. And that's what's happening here. And feeling for, not for one night, feeling like that young kid again, or that young 20-something person again, and reliving good memories and things of that nature. So I think that there is a niche for it. Absolutely. A lot of your fan base doesn't know that at one point, I mean, I'm still a pretty big fan, but I used to Kirk out with New Kids on the Block. That was my jam. That was my band. Grew up on them. And when they first relaunched after they had broken up and came back, oh man, anything and everything. And I spent quite a bit of money. I went on their cruise twice. Is that right? Well, at least once. But I'm thinking it was twice. I think I skipped a year and then went back the next year. Anyway, twice. Paid for meet and greets. Or once. I paid for one meet and greet. But either way, basically not going long-winded on it, is people want the experience. And especially when you were younger, you didn't have the options to do exactly what you wanted at that point. So reliving that is a definite part of it. And I think that's why there are people that are calling for it. And if, then that's the big if, you have a band who can still deliver and you're healthy and it gives you purpose for the band and possibly the attendees. Why not?
I look at bands like the Rolling Stones and I go, who I love tremendously. My math teacher back in high school really hipped me on to the Rolling Stones. I remember one of the first albums that I actually ended up owning of the Rolling Stones because of somebody. And in this case, it was because of my math teacher. He was like, oh man, he was like, Rolling Stones is getting ready to come out with a new album. And we're like, Professor, those guys are like Professor Hirschner, that was his name. We're like Professor or Mr. Hirschner. I'm sorry, not Professor, but like Mr. Hirschner. Like that band is so fucking old. And he was like,
To you.
yeah, and he said that. He was like, to you, he was like, no, these guys are still kind of. He was like, they're a little bit older now. He's like, but they're still pretty damn popular. But the very first album that I ever ended up owning of the Rolling Stones was their Bridges to Babylon album, and that's got the main feature track, Anybody Seen My Baby. And when I listened to that whole album, I was like, wow. I mean, that really, because back then I was pushing Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, Stone Temple Pilots, Bush, Nirvana, Cage Choice, Cranberries. I also was in the Motley Crue, Twisted Sister, AC/DC, Nine Inch Nails. I mean, I was into a little bit of everything. And so when I would hear about these, wait, that's a relic band. Why are you? That's a dinosaur band, But
right.
when I listened to it, I'm like, wow, these guys sound. I'm like, wow. And then I ended up checking out their back catalog. Now I knew of a couple of Rolling Stone songs already, but not enough to. Okay, I'm a fan.
Right.
But after that Bridges to Babylon album, I became a fan. And now it was okay. Now I want to consume any and
everything.
all. Right. And I've been a Rolling Stones fan ever since.
So let me ask you, in reference to as a analogy.
Okay.
If money were no object, and there was a concert where Chris Cornell and Soundgarden was there, and say they were in their 70s,
okay,
but still sounded recognizable, and then you had another band join them that had Lane Staley, also in his 60s, 70s, still sounded recognizable. Would you not empty your bank account to essentially go and see them?
If they still sounded, because I'm a stickler, man. I'm a stickler. I am a stickler. Now more than ever, I have hopped on social media and, like, out of curiosity, I'm trying to hear how bands sound live. And if I am sold on how they sound live, okay, yeah, I don't mind seeing them live. So, because remember, when we were growing up, you know this very well, and many others around our age, if not older, when we all were growing up, there was no, I'll just hop on YouTube or Twitter.
Oh, hell no.
And I'll just see how the band is live. No, your ass would just be surprised.
Yes.
When you go to the concert, and heaven forbid you caught the band on a night where, they did some drugs or whatever.
It was an off night.
You were going to be telling all your friends and family about that.
So the only thing that we really had back then, but heck, that was like a couple of months after you've seen them.
Yeah.
Was some kind of DVD that, or VHS that had come out.
Bootleg, right?
That had come out, of a concert in one of the cities.
And we also relied on magazines.
And possibly others who had been to one of their concerts.
Right. We also relied on the radio station too, because they used to also give us the skinny on what was happening with some of our favorite bands performing. But to answer your question, so knowing what I know now and having the accessibility that I have to social media, and if I'm seeing, to your point, hey, Lane Staley, okay, sounding pretty damn good, and I'm seeing, Chris Cornell, he's still around, and Soundgarden, and they sound very close to, right, like Father Time's been kind to them. I'm going, yeah, okay. If money were no object, I'm going, yeah, sure. But I care a great deal about the performance, first and foremost, because I have seen my fair share of acts online where I go, why are they out here? Why are they doing this? Like, and before anybody even answers that question, some you can look at and you just know this is how they are making ends meet. Like they have to do this, and
And sometimes it's also just as much of a passion project for them.
it gives them something to do.
Correct.
Right, it
Mhm.
definitely gives them something to do, or just a combination of all of those things.
Right.
But I don't want to, as a fan, I don't want to be in a position where I go, and I'll give you a perfect example, and everybody else at home, I'll give you all a perfect example. I look at Robert Plant, just how you go, New Kids on. I love, love, love Robert Plant.
Mhm.
Tams knows this. I love Robert Plant. Matter of fact, one of the first albums that Tams got me, even though I own the album on CD, one of the first albums that she got me for my vinyl record player was Robert Plant's debut album, Pictures at 11. I love that album. That's like one of my all-time favorites from Robert Plant's discography. Um, I own all things Robert Plant. Every single album, every single collaboration. I've seen him in concert. Love the guy. Love him to death. Like for me, the guy can do no wrong. He's got a new album that's getting ready to drop later this month, and he's hooking up with a new band. Well, he's been hooked up with a new band, and they've been going around touring the past couple of years and everything. It's called Saving Grace. I've heard a little bit, seen a couple of their live performances and all that, and as a fan, I'm now going, mm, mm. Did you hear me, folks? I said, mm. I'm now going.
Yeah, I'll miss that.
This ain't no see you live.
Mm-hmm.
If anything, I'm going. Well, how's the studio album? Because if the studio album is good, like I can get behind that, right? And Plant has been on such a hot streak.
Mm-hmm.
When he resurfaced back in the early 2000s with the Strange Sensation band, and they put out the Dreamland album, and basically Plant was like on this resurgence. Like ever since, he's had a hot streak of putting out some really good albums.
Mm-hmm.
The follow-up that he did with Allison Krauss, it escapes me right now. I know their first collaboration was Raising Sand. I can't think of the name of the follow up album. That one was okay, not as good as their first collaborative effort. But I watched some of the performances live with Saving Grace, and I'm just going, nah, man, all right, he's got a little something to do, and it's good for him. I'm happy for him. And it's like I'll check out the album though. It's like, but it's like I think it might be time for you to retire, dude. I hate saying that because I love all things Robert Plant, but anytime I'm going, I think it's now time for you to retire. Mm-hmm. That's not good. Now, I'm not saying his voice is bad, but at the same time, I'm also recognizing, yeah, he ain't quite where he was 10, 15 years ago. That's a prime example of, maybe you should kind of go do something else. So there are certain acts that I'm looking at, and again, I get it. It's a passion project to what you said. It's giving them something to do. They got to make ends meet.
But most don't necessarily think like you do. I'm not saying all.
Yeah.
But most. Most is still the nostalgia piece of it. Mm-hmm. Because if that nostalgia piece wasn't there,
it's like my best
friend. They wouldn't necessarily be a resurgence.
Let me tell you something. I remember one of my best friends. His name was Diego. Boy, Diego was big into the wrestling. Diego's all-time favorite wrestler was Shawn Michaels. Diego is a straight up heterosexual man, but I have had many conversations with him where he has told me, dude, I'll go gay for Shawn Michaels. And I remember when Shawn Michaels came back and he was wrestling, I was like, damn, is Shawn starting to go a little bald? No, he's not. No, he's not. I'm like, there you go. It's okay, man. It happens to the best of us. I'm like, for God's sake, look at me. My hair. And at this point, my hair was starting to thin out. I'm like, dude, it's okay. It happens to the best. It's like, I'm looking at it clear as day. I'm like, it's thinning out in the front and he's thinning out on his crown. No, he's not. No, it's just wet. It's just, he didn't get the opportunity to just really put it all. I'm like, how much more does he need to do? He's just putting it back in a ponytail, dude. Like, I used to put my hair back in a ponytail and it would be all intact. Like, he's going bald. No, he's not. No, he's not. And even when like more years have progressed past that, it was like, hey Diego, he's definitely getting that bald on there, isn't he? No, he's not. He's still cool. He's still Shawn Michaels, man. Leave him alone. Watch the wrestling. And it's like, all right, dude. All right, whatever. But like you could not say anything wrong about
Oh no.
about Shawn Michaels because he was just goo goo gaga. And I recognize that most people aren't like me. At least as big of a fan as I am, at least I'm willing to admit, as a hardcore fan, I think it's time for you to think about retiring, dude. Like most people, because most people are going to want to relive
Yes.
their, and I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. But when you're watching somebody, like I'll give you a perfect example of an act where I go, man, this is heartbreaking to watch. I can't believe I'm hearing this. I'll give you two examples. Cheap Trick,
Mm-hmm.
The Flame, one of my all-time favorite power ballads from back in the 80s.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I like that song too.
Oh, try watching them perform that song now.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Boy, is that a struggle.
I bet.
Like, it is such a struggle. It's like, have you guys considered retiring that from your playlist? Because if you...
Yeah, but it's probably one of their most popular songs.
Yeah.
And so that's why they still do it.
Right. And if they do it, they let the fans sing it because
Right.
they obviously can't sing it no more.
Not yeah.
Right. And then who's the guy that sings Into the Night?
Benny Mendoza.
Yeah. Man.
Yeah, I remember you saying something about that.
Man, anybody that has not seen him, that is heartbreaking to watch. I remember, like, there's this one joint where he goes, and a couple of years after that, he died. That's the real fucked up part too. But he goes, I just want to let you guys know, this will be the very last time that I perform Into the Night. And you hear some of the crowd members, they go, no, oh no, like, and it's legit, no, oh no. And the backup band that he has, they play the song just like you know. And you know me, I'm a stickler for detail. I can't stand it when a band does when an artist does not evolve and they don't get with the times and do like a nice upbeat updated version. Not an upbeat, but an updated version of a classic song. Now, what do I mean by that? Some of you guys are like, what do you mean by that exactly, Lee? I'll give you a perfect example. Listen to the 80s version of Simply Red's Holding Back the Years. Now, look at the version he put out like some 20 something years later when he did the Simplified album. He did a great rendition of it. Still has the same jazz effect and all that, but in my personal opinion, the version that's on the Simplified album sounds 10 times better than what he put out back in the 80s. Same deal for Simply Red's Sad Old Red. I think off the same album from back in the day that was critically acclaimed. Did a nice reinterpretation of that song, right? I'm not a fan of acts that just recycle the same song, same hook, same beat. And so here's Barry, fucking guy in the background on the little piano or whatever. And you're like, okay, well, he's kind of capturing that 80s vibe. Okay. All right, here we go. Here we go. I mean, I'm watching him, and he's old, and he's shaking, and he's holding on to the microphone, and his hands are just shaking, and I'm just like, man, is he even really going to be able to sing this song? And then he goes ahead and he starts singing, and I'm not making fun of him, but he just, she's just 16 years old. Leave her alone. They say you, if you guys know the lyrics, you can help me. And it's like, help you? How about you don't sing it? Memory ruined. I felt so heartbroken.
Yeah. No, I hear that.
You know,
and it's actually, as someone who has grown up, hearing that song, loving that song, to then see it sung so many years later, and it's just, for lack of for
and it
lack of
looked
better
like
words, butchered.
and it looked like he was singing this song at like a bingo hall,
Yeah.
or like somebody's fucking wedding reception of like 20 people. I mean, it was a bad scenery. It was a bad fucking scenery, right? So when I see guys like Bruce Springsteen still going out there kicking ass, Rolling Stones, Mick Jagger going out there kicking ass, I'm going, that's how you do it,
Mm-hmm.
and you're still able to do it at the highest quality that's possible. God bless you. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's how you want to do it. Alice Cooper was, still going out there and fucking crushing it. It's like that's how you do it. So I can't wait to see what happens with Motley Crue. I can't wait to see what happens with Dee Snider and Twisted Sister, one of my all-time favorite acts. So we'll see what happens with them. As we get ready to wind it down, one other thing I want to bring to you guys' attention. I'm gonna mention this, and it's gonna be like, wait, what? Nothing to go overkill about, but apparently there is going to be some changes in the Oscars coming up next year. So here's your rundown on that. This sounds so fucking stupid when you hear this too. So check this out, y'all. The Oscars now are implementing this rule where they are requiring all voters to watch all the nominated films. Whereas, no, wait for it. I'm getting ready to tell you guys. That sounds really stupid, right? Hang on.
No, it doesn't actually.
Hang on. Whereas before, what they were doing, they were following the social trends and basically what was popular. And that's basically how they were voting.
Well, hell, that's bias.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, do you guys
Wow.
understand why I never watch the Oscars? I don't need somebody,
Yeah.
a group of people to tell. No, I can just, hey, hun, what's your friend or what's your family saying about, or you just hop on social media and you're like, what's got everybody talking? Like, I will give more credence to that shit than I would with a fucking award ceremony. Like, fuck that shit. Okay? So now they are all being forced to watch the films that are nominated. That's just hilarious.
Well, if you're a judge, yeah.
Also, the Academy is now taking a more stronger look at movies that are incorporating AI. So basically, what that means is before, like if you were able to shoot something, basically entirely with like AI,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, okay, cool. Now, the way that the Oscars have this structured, they are going to take into consideration how much AI is being used to make this movie, but they really care a great deal about the human aspect of editing, producing. They care more greatly. So basically, the higher that is, the better, and
Mhm.
the chances that maybe your shit will get nominated.
Mhm.
And so they're definitely looking at that as well. So I hear that, and again, this isn't long winded. I just go, you just gave me examples why I don't care about you guys.
Right.
There's
It's
always
true.
been biasism. It goes as far back. I remember when it came to one of my all-time favorite movies, American Beauty, with Kevin Spacey.
Oh yeah, I remember that story.
Okay, for newer listeners, I'll tell it in a nutshell. We had the year in the Academy Awards, Oscars, and all that shit. That basically American Beauty, great film starring Kevin Spacey. Wasn't Warren Beatty's wife in that movie
Oh,
too?
Annette Bening.
Annette Bening was in
She
that
was
movie
pregnant
too. Yes, yeah, she was in
at
that
the
movie
Oscars.
too. She was in that movie too. Kevin Spacey plays this father who has like this father slash husband that has like this great life, nice white suburban neighborhood. He's got a lot
Oh,
of
he
great.
must live in Montgomery County.
He must live in Montgomery County, Maryland. White privilege, white rich county. Hi-yo! Like how I like how that just like fullback circle of storytelling there. And he has this midlife crisis. And he's buying new cars and all this other shit, and he ends up flirting with his daughter's girlfriend, who is like, I don't know how old she was in that movie. I don't know if she was like um pretending to be 15, 16, 17. I don't know, but he has like this serious midlife crisis. This film was polarizing. I mean, beautifully well written, directed, all that shit. If you guys have never seen American Beauty, would highly encourage you guys to check it out. You'll thank me later. That movie should have won, and it did not. You know what won that year? You know what won that year? I should not be suffering from the Mandela effect. I don't believe I am. What won that year, what beat American Beauty was fucking Gladiator.
Yeah.
Fucking Gladiator. Now look, I watched Gladiator in the theaters. I thought Gladiator was a damn good movie. But Gladiator compared to American Beauty is like, well, wait a minute. We're talking about a hack and slash versus, and I think it mainly had to do with the themes that was covered in American Beauty, and just the fact that we had this older man that tried doing what he was doing with his daughter's friend. I think those were just that was pushing the boundaries a little bit too far. That was a little bit too out of the box. So if I were to sum it up for you guys, I would say that movie was extremely taboo. Taboo to the point. Just think that respective year if it was Brokeback Mountain.
Yeah.
Like no chance in hell. Gladiator wins. Like
Yeah.
okay, it's kind of one of those type
Yeah.
of deals. But like
But
ever,
it did win multiple other awards.
yeah,
It just didn't win Best Motion Picture.
yeah. I just said from that moment on, I said fuck them. I said
Yeah.
I said fuck them. Like they I'll just rely on my friends and family to tell me what's going on. Also, some interesting news on Power. So we finally got the first trailer for Power Force that is out right now for you guys to consume. It's about 30 seconds long. Not really much you can, wrap your lips around, but looks good, looks promising. Um, Pops up in November. Series returns in November. Also, got some Saturday Night Live news as a boatload of talents are rolling out left and right. Um, this is just with the latest being Ego Nordum. She is making her shocking exit from SNL after 7 years. She announced on Friday that she would not be returning to the NBC sketch series for an eighth season, saying in part, the hardest part of a great party is knowing when to say goodnight. But after 7 unforgettable seasons, I've decided to leave SNL. I'm immensely grateful to Lauren Michaels for the opportunity, to my castmates, the writers, and the crew for their brilliance, support, and friendship. She shared this on a Instagram story post. Remember, she joined the NBC sketch series as a featured player back in 2018 before being elevated to a regular cast member in 2020. For those of you that's not quite picturing the face, she basically was known for her Dionne Warwick skits. She also did some really good Janet Jackson skits as well. So you're keeping track of this. Let's not forget it was just about 2.5, almost 3 weeks ago that Emil Joaquim announced on Instagram that he received a call saying he was being let go from Saturday Night Live. And then the next day after that, Michael Longfellow wrote on social media that he was not invited back for a fourth season of SNL. That same day, Heidi Gardner, she's the one that you've been seeing running around in the ding dong homes.com commercials. She announced that she was leaving after 8 seasons. So, if you're keeping track, you might not know or watch enough episodes of SNL like that, but to lose, I'm blanking out on the name, forgive me there, to lose Heidi and then to lose Ego in the same, right, that's a big blow. I haven't seen anything of this magnitude in quite some time, I gotta say to you guys. And then also writer Chelsea Yim, she announced that she was exiting the show. Now, earlier in the month, SNL announced 5 feature players that are joining the cast for the new season. Now, if you're keeping track of diversity, you know that on SNL, that's been really, really sketchy.
Mhm.
Shout out to Variety, as Variety put out a report that talked about how of the said 172 comedians on the show, since creator Lauren Michaels launched it back in 1975, only 8 of those comics have been black women. Yvonne Hudson joined the show in 1980. Donatra Vance followed in 1985. Both of those women only lasted 1 season. Armageddon actress Aline Cleghorn appeared on the series from 1991 to 95 and was the first black woman to make it past the first season. And then, of course, we have the great Maya Rudolph. She went from 2000 to 2007, and we know the type of career that she had after that. Shashir Zamata appeared on SNL from 2014 to 2017. Since then, she's had parts on several TV shows, including Tracy Morgan's The Last OG. Then we really got a spike, like as far as like a great successor to Maya Rudolph, Leslie Jones. She was on there from 2014 to 2019. She's going on to have a pretty, decent career. Punky Johnson appeared on the series from 2020 to 2024. She most recently had a recurring role on the Showtime drama The Shy. And then, of course, Ego Nodum, who, just wrapped up after a couple of years there. But she's doing pretty good so far. According to her IMDb page, that included the film Gabby's Dollhouse, the movie alongside SNL alum Kristen Wiig and Little Brother with John Cena, Christopher Maloney. So she's coming along. She's coming along. But we've seen this happen. There's usually that period where SNL is not funny for X amount of
Mhm.
years, and then they get like 2 3 impact players where you go, okay, I gotta watch, because but in the more later years, let's really be honest with ourselves, who's really watching SNL for the cast members? You're
Nope.
be right. I mean, let's be honest. You're really watching SNL for, if not the musical guests, you're watching for whoever the host is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Pretty much.
that's really the truth. That's really the truth. And if you happen to find somebody that's kind of funny along the way, then that's great.
Bonus.
Then that's a bonus, right? Other than that, let's close out. You got a pet peeve you want to talk about?
So, it's been a pet peeve of mine for quite some time. But in today's day and age, it's become more of a pet peeve because so many people don't do it anymore. And I don't know if it's, at this point, it's society or just it's, gotten to that point where it's a social disengagement.
Mm.
But basically, my pet peeve, guys, is when you go somewhere, doesn't even matter where, and you essentially are in the midst of doing something, whether you're in line at checkout or you are walking past looking at this or that or the third, and the person that is standing next to you, behind you, or in front of you literally cuts you off, bumps into you, or any version of the two that I just described, and does not say, excuse me. It's just common courtesy. At least for me it is. That's the way I was raised. And it just irks me out, guys. I just can't tell you how much. Because it just feels like you do not care about me as a person. To be nice enough to say, oh, I'm sorry. So basically the reason that this was brought up and the reason that it had come to the forefront of my mind was I literally was at our local Walmart. Of course, there's probably your first thing, right? But I was at our local Walmart.
Can I just that's your first mistake right there.
That's what I'm saying.
That's your first mistake. Now see, if you would have been at Amazon Fresh, or you would have been at Wegmans. Oh, I am so sorry. Are you okay? Oh my God, I didn't see you there. I am so sorry. How are your shoes? Are they okay? What about your feet? Are they okay? Oh my God, I am so sorry.
Anyway. So, I literally am in line, guys.
You want to take my phone
number? And it's not even...
in case you need insurance?
And it's not even by somewhat the patrons, right? This is the staff. In the same time, I'm literally waiting in line. And the cashier literally is just like, I gotta do what the fuck I gotta do. So, I mean, you gonna stand there or you ain't. And both of them proceed to essentially bump into me or literally be within 2 sneezes away. And not say, excuse me, pardon me, or anything. And to me, guys, I just bothers me. It's just a pet peeve of mine that I don't think will ever go away.
Look, let me tell you something. And you dare not confront them because, gee, heaven forbid they shoot you in the neck.
Bad joke.
Well, it's the truth because you don't know what's going on.
But it's a bad joke.
I wasn't even trying to tell a joke. I'm being dead serious. In this day and age in society, you got to be careful because you know, again, heaven forbid they shoot you in the neck because you don't know. Some of these motherfuckers got a screw loose.
Yeah.
Heaven forbid you stand your ground and you try to do the right thing and you tell a motherfucker, yo, excuse me, can't you see me standing right here? What the fuck is wrong with you? You don't know if they got a knife and they gonna shank your ass, they gonna pull out a gun.
And you can't confront people because You don't know.
Let me tell you something. I did this, and if you think my joke and my timing was bad, oh my god! One of my favorite comedians. This dude is really catching fire, and I mean that in the most positive way. I think the world of this guy. This guy is fucking hilarious. I want to see this guy whenever he comes over here on the East Coast. Uh, he he is funny. He is very very funny. I can see this guy with the right management team behind him. If he could somehow get Dave Chappelle's people, I think he will be right up there. Some people may already feel he's already there, but I don't think he's quite there yet. I think this guy could be on the Dave Chappelle level. I think he will eventually be a recipient of a Mark Twain award, because he is that damn good as a comedian, and very seldom will I sing the praises of a comedian. If you've been
This
listening
is
to
true.
me, yeah, if you've been listening to me for a long time, very seldom will I like go to bat for a comedian.
Mm-hmm.
Sammy Obeid, that's spelled Obeid. Look that guy up. I mean, not for nothing, but his YouTube channel, for example, dude's got over 445,000 subscribers, and he is really really good. He is the king of tackling hecklers. He is the king of tackling hecklers. But I'm saying that right now. He put out a video talking about the whole Charlie Kirk assassination and all that, because right now,
Oh, was that what you were watching?
that's what I was watching the other night, and I was laughing.
Yeah.
Oh
Actually,
my
it was,
god,
and
that dude.
the skit was humorous.
That dude. Holy shit, man! Like when I'm telling you, when you watch that dude, you're gonna be like, Lee, it's the funniest shit that you recommend. You'll thank me later, I promise you.
Mhm.
But I'm looking forward to getting some tickets to see. As a matter of fact, if I remember right, I think he's going to be doing something in late October or November out here. Now that I'm thinking about it, yes, I think he's doing something at Howard University, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know. Maybe we might be able to. We'll talk about it off air. But anyway, let me tell you something. I was doing a delivery run about a month and a half, 2 months ago, and I was out in Northwest DC. I had to pick up like two items for a customer at a Safeway. It was the Safeway down Georgetown. So one of the things that this customer wanted was coffee mate creamer. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, they wanted was two coffee mate creamers. And some pads. Okay, so you're able to figure out, what that was about, right? All right, no better way to kick off the morning. You got yourself,
Oh Lord.
get your coffee, you're a little cranky and all that, stay up to date with your pads. I get it, right? That time of the month, I get it. So I'm standing in front of the refrigerated section, and I'm trying to see which creamer I'm supposed to get for this woman. Okay, this goes to what you just talked about. I'm probably about, maybe I would say, a foot to a foot and a half away from the refrigerated door. Next thing I know, this Asian guy, actually no, he looked biracial. So he looked half American, half Asian. He could maybe be mistaken for half American, half Hispanic too. But this biracial dude with long brown hair down to his shoulders, he fucking just jumps in front of me. I mean, his hair whipping my face, as he goes and tries to open the door, and I promise you, I'm not exaggerating. If I would have continued to stand right there, he would have hit me with the door. So I had to quickly move to my left as this dude is opening the door, and he is just buried into his phone as he is trying to find whatever item he's trying to find for his customer. So you could tell he was Instacart shopping.
Mm-hmm.
And only after he did what he did does he do a half-ass look over his shoulder in my direction, kind of trying to see where I am, and then continues to do what he was doing. One of my favorite Boondocks episodes is when Huey goes, and now it's time for a nigga moment. I almost had a nigga moment. you know. And then I'm just picturing Riley in the background. Damn, nigga! How come you didn't fucking lay that bitch ass nigga out right there on the spot? You some puss ass bitch, and I was ready to I was ready to checkmate this motherfucker. But then I just said, you know what? It's okay. It's 4 a.m. I ain't got time for this. I'm good. But I was pissed. I kept it moving along. First thing I said to myself, I said, I'm at a Safeway. Which for those of you that don't know, Safeway is basically equivalent to a giant food store, a Kroger, a Jewel's, a giant food.
Your local non commercialized.
Yeah.
It's not across the U.S.
Right.
Your local grocers.
Right. Because I knew automatically, if I was at a Amazon Fresh or Wegmans, that,
nah,
I wouldn't have dealt with that.
No.
I would have got excuse me,
Yeah.
Or something along those lines. I don't know what it is about places like Walmart, Aldi for that matter. Everybody is just,
hell yeah.
Everybody is just. And I gotta
move. Let me get my shit.
I gotta admit, going to a Walmart and Aldi, I'm always left feeling the creeps. I don't know what it is, but I'm always left kind of.
Somebody took the car and ran into one of our local Aldis. Literally busted out the whole wall with their car.
For what reason?
Oh, I don't know that.
Oh, okay. I was about to say,
their car wasn't even a little bit in, a little bit out.
Yeah.
It was all the way in.
I was about to say, damn, is that what happens when you don't have any dollar banquet meals?
Either that or you decide you don't want to pay for a shopping cart.
Yeah, that too. Shit. Jesus Christ. Hey, so quick programming notes. I'll be back with you guys on Monday. We will talk more for sure because we didn't talk about it here. I will go in depth on my thoughts about the latest Worlds Collide Las Vegas event. We'll also talk SmackDown as Brock Lesnar had a pretty hilarious skit there with Ron Killings. Also, I'll sound off Ron Cena, as he wants to be called now. Ron Cena. I'll also sound off about Andrade being released by WWE and what exactly that means for him in his future. By the way, I'm finding it hilarious, everybody reacting to Andrade's release, and I'm just like, is anybody going to address the elephant in the room?
You didn't care about that man before.
Huh?
You didn't care about that man before.
That's what I'm saying. You guys didn't care about him before. And you all know who you are. You didn't care about him before. Why y'all going, oh my God! Why? And all this other, I can't wait to dive into that. It's pretty hilarious. We'll also talk about the fallout from this Monday's WWE Raw as well. Monday's show is now available for on demand on the downloads. I apologize for the delay. I did not get around to uploading it till Friday.
Oh,
Yeah, I was busy with classwork. So I'm still trying to adjust, guys. It's been going pretty good. Nothing new has I'm still going with with the motions. Really right now I enjoy going there, doing my classes, but when it comes to interacting with fellow classmates, trying to work on um projects together, conversating, I'm struggling with that. Nothing that I'm doing wrong, but it's like everybody's in their own little zone. So I think many of the students are intimidated by me because they're able to look at me and they know I'm an older student. So I think it's kind of one of those. Well, he already knows the answer, so he's an older person, so fuck him. And so I'm kind of adjusting. It's a little challenging. I'm trying to adjust to that, but yeah, show was not put up until Friday. So it's kind of why we went a little bit longer on this episode for you guys, kind of give you guys a nice little deluxe and everything. So hopefully you'll enjoy this. You have enjoyed this. I'm definitely going to be putting this up later tonight on demand and on the downloads for you guys so you can enjoy this. But I will definitely be with you all Monday live. We'll also go over, we should have done it on this episode. I didn't want to be too much more long-winded, but we need to go over ESPN, making sure you guys are up to date on how you all are going to be able to do what you need to do so you can check out the new era of PLEs through ESPN there with WWE. So we'll dive into all that on the Monday show. So be kind, rewind, check out previous episodes you might have missed on demand and on the downloads. Wherever you get your podcast, just search the RCWR show. We're also brought to you in part by our friends over at the IMEI radio station, your global soundtrack featuring the hottest indie artists from the 90s, 2000s. I'm talking throwbacks mixed with today's top 40 hits. Think of it as a world tour for your ears, delivering crowd favorites and hidden gems from the US, Europe, and Canada. Tune in, vibe out, and discover your next favorite track. Check them out, the 24/7 IMEI radio station. Shout out to our listeners, longtime supporters. Big thanks to our Patreon backers, TikTok followers, everybody involved in checking out the show. We got new foodie reviews that are in the pipeline. A couple of people had reached out. Lee, dog, seen your Oreo reviews. Yo, you gotta review the Oreos, Reese's joints. Like, yo, we got it. My black ass just need to sit down and eat them. And so me and Tams, we've been playing tag this week, but we're definitely going to be sitting down Sunday to do it. There's even a bonus little Reese's thing that I came across that's like, ooh. So we'll definitely do some recordings for you guys. She's the beautiful and the lovely Tammy Lee Sanders. We're wishing all of y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. We'll see you next go round. Take care.